Hi, everybody. This is the Principles of Special Education Vulnerable Population Project. An overview, it is also called IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education. And this was established to put in place six key principles to support individuals that need more support than other students. And we're going to go over those six. First one was zero reject. Historically, students with special needs have been excluded from the education setting. Before the IDEA policy, these students were institutionalized or stayed at home with their families to receive care and education. But after the implementation of IDEA, these students were finally allowed to go to school. However, when their behaviors or needs became too much for schools to handle, the students were expelled. And we started from the beginning. But over time, students with special needs have become more accepting. Later, a requirement called manifestation determination, which helps students with behavior challenges due to their disabilities, says that the schools are responsible to provide adequate support for these children. Next is non discriminatory identification and evaluation. In the ECE setting, evaluation is a vital part of these programs, especially in special needs education. These evaluations determine if a child has a disability and also if their disability is impacting their abilities to make progress in school. In order to make sure the evaluation process has as little bias as possible, there are a few specific steps that we can take, such as using a variety of data sources that include standardized assessments, progress monitoring from any interventions that were currently happening, and anecdotal records and work samples. Using these variety of sources helps improve and give educators a full picture of the child's functioning while in school. Next is free approach public education. This policy applies to only public and charter schools. The IDEA policy does not extend to private schools yet. The appropriate part of this education policy is established by creating an IEP, or Individual Education Program, which addresses the student's unique needs and support for making good progress in school. Good progress can look different for every student. Next is least restrictive environment. This key principle means a student will be in a classroom with their typically developing peers as often as possible, depending on the child's IEP plan or behavioral issues. Special education is really about the supports and services, and those can occur whenever is most appropriate for the student. And that's going to look different for each student depending on their own individual circumstances. Next is procedural safeguards, also known as parental rights. Whoops. These need to be offered to every family every year. It must include each state must establish a parent and training information center. Parents must be informed in writing prior to any changes, and special educational supports and services called prior written notice. Parents can also request an independent education evaluation. These parents need to provide initial consent before services can be started, and they also have the right to decline services for their child. Of course, they have access to all of their child's records. Next is parent-student participation. Parents and students have the right to be involved in all special education processes. These steps can be taken to ensure that they are included. Meetings should be scheduled at a time and a place that everyone can agree on. That's educators, parents, students, anyone involved in this meeting. Parents should be given at least 10 days notice before meeting, and a meeting notice should be sent home as well. Meeting notice should state the purpose of the meeting, who will be attending, and time and location. Parents are allowed to bring anyone to the meeting for support, and they may provide additional information regarding the child's progress. Parents and students should be actively involved in all decision making. I think that's very important. A new concept idea. I really enjoyed learning more specifically about this policy. I think that it was very interesting. I really thought that the children with disabilities, especially now, are very much and looked after when it comes to getting a good education. I was very happy to learn about all of these regulations that have been put in place for these children because they need an advocate. Um, for experience, I am writing about a personal experience that I was able to relive when I chose this topic. When I was in school, I was on an IEP as well. I remember that all of my teachers that I had growing up were very helpful and supportive. They were, they gave me lots of accommodations. I got extra time on tests, teachers' notes, small group testing. Um, I thought that was very helpful as I was progressing through school. So, after reading these policies and principles, everything that I experienced in school connected a lot of dots while I was doing this assignment. I remember sitting in the meetings. As I was reading, I placed myself in the situation. And that's my project. Thank you very much.